Good afternoon, people. Today's video, I would like to share to you the how we can get the tire circumference based on the tire specs. Normally, for the tire specs, we have this example of this is 195 45 R19. I will explain to you what is the meaning of 195, 45, R19. Okay? So normally every car, every vehicle, there is what we call tire specs that we can say that it's based on the design or what particular needed tire specs for a certain vehicle. Okay. What is the meaning of 195 in the tire specs? So basically this 195 represents the width of the tire, and 45 represents the aspect ratio. Okay, I will explain to you later what is the meaning of aspect ratio. Okay, and then R represents the type of the tire. So R means radial. Okay, and of course there is also what we call bias, and there are also run flat tire, temporary tire. So these are the types of tire based on the materials or the design of the tire based on the application in the vehicle. Okay, and this 19 represents the rim diameter. Okay, so all of this, okay, 1, 2, and 3 is the needed in terms of how to determine the tire circumference. Okay, by the way, what is circumference? So circumference is, okay, there are two formula that we can use in terms of tire circumference. Okay, number one is diameter times pi, or 2 pi r. Okay, this is pi, and r represents radius. Okay, anyway, later I will show you how to get this. So take note of this. Now, so just to give you about the idea in terms of the tire. So normally, if this is your tire, okay, normally from this point to this point, this represents the width of the tire. Okay, and then, okay, so example, if this is your tire, so this is like a donut, but basically, of course, this is your tire, and this is your rim, or alloy wheel, or steel rim, right? So what this represent from this point to this point, and this point up to this point. So from here to here, and also here from here, this represents your tire height, and this one represents your rim diameter. So based on the specs, we have already the rim diameter, but we don't have the height. Okay, based on the tire specs. So again, this is 195 represents width, which is expressed in millimeter. Okay, now again, what we are looking actually is the circumference, and we know the circumference is, if you have the circle, that is From, okay, again, if this is your circle, if this is the starting point, so from this point, you have one complete revolution, which is 360 degrees. So from this point up to one rotation, that will be your circumference. Okay, understand? Now, again, you're looking for the circle and you are going to, so from this point to this point, that is your diameter, and the half of diameter, that will be your radius. Okay? Now, go back again to the tire specs. Okay? Now, remember, we need to determine here the diameter first. That is, again, very important. So, we will use the formula diameter times pi. Okay, I will explain to you later what is the equivalent values in terms of the pi. Now, what is now the diameter? So we will look for that in terms of what will be the diameter. So we need to determine first diameter. Now, go back again to the tire specs. Again, we don't have height here. So we will now look for what is now the height of the tire. Again, aspect ratio, go back to the aspect ratio, I will put it AR, is equal to height all over width times 100. So this 45 expressed in percentage. Okay? So we don't have height. Height. Then only available now is the width. So aspect ratio is equal to height, which is missing, and then width is 195. So in this case, this aspect ratio represents 45%. Now, how we can translate this into millimeter? So, just divide 45 by 100. That will be 0.45. Correct, guys? Okay, anyway, let me confirm that. So, 45 divided by 100, that will be 0.45. So, now, our aspect ratio actually is but based on this, right? So, based on this formula, what will be now the formula for the height now? Now, in that case, height is equal to aspect ratio times width. So this is the formula for height. So we know that aspect ratio, this is 45% divided by 100, that will be 0.45 times 195. So 0.45 multiplied by 195 that will be 87.75. So that will be 88 express, okay? So it will become 88 millimeters. So we have now the height. Okay? Now, go back again to the rim or the tire. Again, from this point to this point, from this point to this point, that will be your height, which is 88, and then this is also 88. But at this point, what is now the rim diameter, no? From this point, so now we have now 19, but take note, this 19 represents in terms of inches. So again, we will translate this into millimeter. So take note, 1 inch is equal to 25.4 millimeter. Okay? So from 19 inch into millimeter, so just multiply 19 by 25.4. That will be so 19 multiplied by 25.4, that will be 482.6, or we can say 483 mm. Now we have from this point to this point, we have now 483 mm. Now remember, from this point to this point, that will be your diameter. So, what will be our formula now for diameter? Okay. So, diameter is equal to height times 2 plus rim diameter, which is, what is our height? 88 times 2 plus 483. So, what is that? Okay, so 88 times 2 plus 483, that will be 659 millimeter. That will be our diameter. So from this point to this point, that will be 659 millimeter. Okay, so again, go back now to the formula. So what is now? So now we can get now the circumference now. So circumference is equal to diameter multiplied by pi. By the way, what is pi? Pi represents 3.1416 or 3.14. Multiply for the diameter, which is, okay, or I will follow this formula. So 659 multiplied by 3.14, so that will be 659 multiplied by 3.14, that will be 2069.26, or we can say 2069 mm. So that will be our circumference. Okay? So now we can say that the circumference of the tire is 2069. So hopefully you learned something about this. So thank you very much for your time.